Hey, what's up? It's Fuel Your Life Friday. Let's go. Happy Friday, friends. I know anytime that we have an episode about the moon, we're sure to have a lot of downloads because I think many resonate with the energy. Not only that, it's pretty easy to follow the moon cycles as well, especially the new and full moons. If you'd like to learn more about how to flow and work with the full and new moons, I really encourage you to go back and listen to episodes 164, 94, 90, and 83, where we talk about the moon in more depth. But today, I thought I'd share how I began to use the moon in my business, particularly the podcast. Now, I'm not to the point of using every single moon phase in my daily business, but I really began to become more mindful in early 2020 about my energy around the full and new moons. In 2019, I realized at certain times of the month, I really just had no energy to talk to people. I would have a Monday where I had a whole day of podcast calls scheduled and just mentally couldn't show up for it. Other times of the month, I had no energy to edit. It really seemed cyclical each month, which is why I began to track it. As I began to track, I also began to notice how I'd always have a migraine around the new moon. And I noticed that during the full moon, I actually like to research more and lean into journaling and reflection and spend more time alone. It was the in-between weeks where I felt more in the flow for conversations and meetings. So what I began to do was become more intentional with my calendar around the moon phases. On weeks where there is a new or full moon, I do not do podcast conversations nor any type of one-on-one sessions. On the weeks in between, I do all of my calls and really any other task that requires me to be more present visually and also energetically and physically. Now, on the new moon weeks, I'm more likely to be working on new ideas, creating new content, and I'm a bit more in hustle mode. Whereas on the full moon weeks, I am reviewing what's worked, what hasn't worked in the past month, and going inwards a little bit more. Of course, I'm doing way more than this, but I'm just giving you a glimpse. Since doing this, I've realized that I'm more energetically in the flow. I don't feel like I have to show up and force as much, and that's ideally what we want to do in life. Remember that the moon is tied to our emotions. In the birth charts, the moon represents the mother. The moon and the tides work in sync. And since our bodies are made up of about, 60% of water, doesn't it only make sense that we're affected by the moon too? If you're new to working with the moon and don't really understand it much, I encourage you to check out the book Moonology. It's a very entry level. It's great for beginners. Otherwise, just start tracking your moods and your energetic levels with each moon phase. If all 8 phases feel overwhelming, just start with the new moon and full moon. If you enjoyed today's episode, share it with a friend and be sure to give the podcast a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you tune in and turn it up. I'm back on Wednesday with another life mastery conversation, but until then, remember, every level of life is an opportunity to grow. Be well, my friend.